Just hold on,
Okay,
hold
no
on, hold on,
wala.
hold on. This means, for example, transliteration is if you're writing Arabic in English, you're moving from one writing style and writing it in a different language, different writing style, relying on the pronunciation. So again, if you read Arabic in using English letters, that's transliteration. So for example, you're reading Alhamdulillah, but you're reading it in with English letters. What they did is not to move from one language to another, it is to add vowels that were lost. So that's why I told you it's not the same thing.
Hi, God. You know what? Let me do this. Very simple.
You understand that it is changing from one writing system to another, right? Did they move from one writing system to a different one? The Mazurins, did they do that? In
Just
case it's
one
a question,
second.
it seems, if you could
One
answer
second.
it.
One second.
Sure. Adding vowels is not transliteration, Tiger. Transliterating is moving from one writing system to another. They created vowel sounds that already existed within their writing system. They did not move to a different writing system. This is what I'm trying to point out to you guys.
So wait, when you transliterate, right? So wait, actually, just ask your question again before you say I didn't answer your question.
So I'm asking, did they move from one writing system to a different one? The Mazarenes.
Yeah, because in the original Hebrew, there's literally no vowels. They don't have
The
those.
consonant. All right. So the consonant, are you saying that the consonant they also changed the consonant from the previous one?
Bro, you don't have to change every letter when you're translating. Wait till be this now.
Yeah.
Do you have to change?
Transliteration is
Wait,
moving
so
from
wait,
one
do you
writing
have
system to another.
wait. When you're translating, do you change? Oh my
Yes, you do.
God.
Yes, you do. You have to
No
change the
wala,
writing
no wala,
system.
no
That's
wala,
what
no wala.
transliteration means. You're moving to a different writing system, relying on the sounds. So, like I give you the example, you can't say it is a transliteration when you're writing Arabic in Arabic. It doesn't work. You have to be writing Arabic using English letters for it to be transliteration. The same way, if you are transliterating Hebrew, you'll have to not use Hebrew letters to transliterate. It doesn't mean you're adding phonetics of vowel sounds. That's not transliteration.
Okay,
Please.
no wala, no wala, no wala. Let's move.
All right.
Because
Now,
we're not gonna get anywhere. Because the
that's
thing,
fine.
because the thing you're describing, right? It makes sense, but you're literally describing the process of transliteration. Yes, they didn't have these vowels. Were you gonna say
All right.
something?
No, I'm listening.
Yes, they didn't have these vowels in the Hebrew language, but they used another language to get the sounds it is that they would think this would fit appropriately how they should be pronouncing this.
Okay. So my question to you is this the same case for every other word you found in the Old Testament? Did you also have to create the vowel sound for them?
I wouldn't know actually. I don't know.
Okay. So they have the oral tradition. Do you know what is the significance of oral tradition when it comes to a consonant text?
I mean, to literally preserve the text how it should be by pronunciation, no?
The oral tradition is what gives you the vowel sounds because you will know the consonant sounds, but without the vowel, you'll not be able to read anything. And that is
Yeah.
why earlier texts in the olden days, ancient world, they didn't have a vowels writing system. They only had consonants, and this is why they had to be created later on. This is the same thing with Arabic.
Oh my God. Okay, striving. So
So if
what is the
so,
point?
let me ask you the next
What is
question.
the
If
point?
every other word came with its own pronunciation based on oral tradition, and it's not the case for this one single word. How are you saying that the process is the same for both of them, for both instances?
I don't understand the question you're asking. What do you
I'm
mean by that?
saying this is the Mazarenes were writing a text. Every other word they gave it a diacritical mark based on the oral tradition, except one word. But you are saying the process of giving this one word its own pronunciation is the same as the other words that came with the oral tradition. That's what you are saying. Am I wrong?
Bro, if I say I understand what you just said now, I would be lying, I swear.
All
So
right. Let's
maybe
take it
you might
step by
have to
step.
go slower for me because I'm not even
All right.
comprehending what you're saying.
So let's say Mazarenes. Mazarenes, they had in front of them a consonant text, which means there were no sounds. Are we together?
There were no. What do you mean by there were no sounds?
There were no vowels. You can't pronounce them without the oral tradition.
Yeah.
It means if for example, if I give you a book, I remove all the vowels, will you be able to read it?
Wait. So 1 second. Do
If I
you
give
know
you
what?
an English book,
Wait. Striving, because we're just going on and on and on and on right now. Let's.
because you're not understanding anything, so I have to break it down to the level
Yeah,
where you
I'm
can
not.
understand
It's not.
every
I'm not
point.
I'm not understanding what's going on. It's the questions that you're asking. It's
That's why
literally
I'm
not
breaking it
even.
down so that
That's what
everyone
I'm
can
saying.
understand
That's what
with
I'm
you.
saying. Wait. Let's slow it down first. Now, the letters YHWH, right?
Mhm.
What do we call that term? I'm not asking you for the name, but what do we call that?
The term is called, I think, it's a tetratogram or something. I'm not pronouncing it
Yeah,
properly. That's why
tetragram, a tetragram. Yes,
tetragram, yeah, tetragram, yes.
yes. You do you know what a tetragram is?
Oh, no, I don't.
Okay, so I think that's where we need to start from.
All right, let's start there then. What is the tetragram?
That the way I understand it, I will be lying if something I can explain properly to you. So it's best if I just research it and give you the actual definition.
Okay.
Make I no go
So
chat it.
is it not the fact that the YH, this is the tetragram? This is how you define the word based on what it means or what it refers to? Is that not the case? That the YH is given a name and that name is a tetragram. Why do you need a different definition for it?
What? Wait, bro. I'm so. What did you just say?
The YHWH,
Yes.
is that not called a tetragram?
Yes, it is called a tetragram. And I
So
asked
why do
you,
you need a
wait,
different
wait, wait.
definition for it?
What do you mean different definition? Where did you
I
get that
already said
from?
that's I already said that's a tetragram. You seem to say it's not the same thing.
When did
You
I
say it's
say it
not
is
accurate,
not?
you know? But you say you needed a definition for it. You need to go and research the definition.
I asked you, do you know the definition of a tetragram? You said no.
No, yes, I know the definition of the tetragram. I don't know what it means linguistically, but I'm saying it refers to something. Why can't we use the fact that it refers to something to say that's what it means? Why can't we do that? Why do you need a definition?
So what, bro? If you're going to work with terms, right? Are you not supposed to understand what the terms mean before you can then apply them?
I get it. I'm saying, why can't we use this understanding for this discussion? Why do we need a different research for the word?
Because again, what you're doing is you're just going off, oh, they don't have the, what's it called? The vowel sounds on how they pronounce this name, right? That's basically what you're doing. That because they didn't have the vowel sounds, they couldn't pronounce that name properly. Then they had to coin out a new name, in essence, right? Because you said the names are not the same. They had to coin out a new name to then give us what we can pronounce, right?
That's exactly what happened.
That's exactly what you're saying. But I'm not
Yes,
asking
that's
you
what
that.
happened.
Oh.
Sorry, go on.
So now, what I'm asking you is again, that's not the full reason, because again, the way I know this is right. Usually, when you say that name, right, it will just be you basically breathing,
I
right?
don't understand.
It's not something that you can go around and be pronouncing because it has no vowels in it. The same thing, literally, I can even research it up, right? Because I remember you asked me, right, that are there other names in the what's it called in the Old Testament where the same thing happened?
No, I'm asking you, are there other reconstruction of the words that exist other than Yahweh?
I don't I don't understand. What's the difference between that and what I just literally said?
So Yahweh, do you know that there's also a pronunciation as Yahuwah for the same name,
Yeah, but
same word?
that's not going to be what's it called? That's the thingy translation. Ah,
So it went from Yehovah to Yahweh. Are you
uh-huh.
familiar? Are you aware of that?
Yes, but that
So
one is the
Yahuwah,
thingy
yeah.
translation.
So Yahuwah is by combining the tetragram with the Adonai vowels. Yahweh is by combining it with Ehya, which is what you find in Exodus 3:14. Because God in Exodus, his name is I am, right? Which is Ehya in Hebrew. So if you
Yes,
combine
isn't
Ehya,
it wait,
that's
isn't
Yahweh.
it from Yahuwah that you get Jehovah, right?
No, I'm telling you
Oh.
where you get it. You get Yahuwah from by combining Adonai and Yahweh, the tetragram. That's where you get Yahuwah. If you put the vowels of Adonai, you get Yahuwah. If you put the vowels of Ehya, you get Yahweh, and that's where you get Yahweh from. Please let's move on. I don't think there's anything more to do here. So
Bro,
my next question was going to be
in fact, you're very right, but just give me one
so
second. I want to pull up something for you, but you can ask your next question.
so I'm asking, I want to break down to understand if you said transliteration is what happened with what they did with Yahweh, the name Yahweh. And I'm trying to see if the process they use for the other words in the Old Testament is the same process as what they did for Yahweh. If it's not the same process, then how can they have the same name?
Yeah,
So,
it's not.
do you understand the question, or do you have to break it down further for you?
Wait. It can't be the same. It can't be the exact same process, right? Because those words don't follow the same principles. Now,
So,
you already. Huh?
all right, so you're saying it's not the same process for what the Mazarenes did with the other
When I'm
Hebrew
saying
words
process,
and what they did with Yahweh. It's
yes.
not transliteration, right? Which of the two is transliteration?
Wait. You're
Wait
taking
for
my
what?
because you're taking my words out of context. Calm
All right,
down.
then put them in the context, please.
Yes.
Go
So
on.
what I'm saying is now how we translate, for example, like how we got. Let's use Abraham as an example, right? Abraham wasn't the actual name in Hebrew, right?
I'm listening.
Yeah. So there was actual, what's it called? We have the preservation of how you pronounce the name Abraham in the Hebrew translation, right? In the Hebrew original word. And you also have the actual spelling of it. Now, because Yahweh, quote unquote, the trans, even now I've forgotten how you say it now, the translation of that name.
Transliteration.
Yes.
The
No,
tetragram,
not
yeah.
translation, not translation. The tranagram.
Tetragram.
Yes.
I don't know. Just sit here because you're confused here pronouncing that word.
Because now we have translation as well. It's just everything
Yeah.
that is
Tetragrammaton.
translated. Yes,
Tetragrammaton.
yes.
Tetragrammaton.
Because it doesn't contain any vowels, right?
Yeah.
The process at which you're going to move from that into another language is going to be very different, right?
Sorry.
Okay, I'll use Abraham as an example again. You see
Okay.
Abraham, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know his Hebrew name, the actual Hebrew name.
That's the Hebrew name Abraham, right?
The Hebrew name is not Abraham.
What is it then?
I think it's even in the comments right now, but I don't have these things off the top of my head all the time because I don't read.
It says they said Abraham. Okay, they just
Yeah.
use the name for Abraham in Hebrew. Let's go with
Yes.
those.
So
Okay.
yes. Now that has the vowel sounds in it, right?
Yes.
Now the process in which you're going to translate that is going to be different for something that doesn't have any vowel sounds, right?
Okay. Okay.
But again, the same process is still going to be called translation, right?
Yeah. So you're saying two different things have the same name, even though there are two different processes linguistically, but they have the same name still.
What? That's not what I
Okay.
said to you.
All right. So hold on. If you have a word in its consonant form and you have the pronunciation of that word and you move it to a different writing style, that is called. Can we say that is transliteration?
Yes, you can.
Okay. Now, when you have a consonant and you don't have the pronunciation, how can you say it's also transliteration when you are creating a pronunciation for it? That's my crux.
Oh, so how you can say it's a translation because when you're changing it into a new language or into like you're trying to get it how we should now be pronouncing it, right? You're
I'm saying if you
adding
have, yeah, so sorry, I'm saying if you have a word in one language with its pronunciation and you want to write it in a different language so that you are still pronouncing that word using the language of a different writing style. E.g., if I want to write Bismillah in using English letter, I will, because I know how to pronounce Bismillah in Arabic, I'll put it with using BISM and the rest. So that's what we call transliteration. However, if I didn't have the way to pronounce Bismillah, so I only have Ba-Ism, then I will, when I'm giving it a pronunciation in a different language, it's not going to be transliteration because there's something else involved. That's my point.
So the thing is, okay, I can agree with you that there's something else involved, which is the point I have made with you. That's why I used Abraham as my example, right? Because when you're trying to pronounce these words, they don't that word YH, because how you say it is yeah, that's literally what you're going to hear.
Yeah, but if you have YH, you can also pronounce it as yo, ye,
Huh?
yeah, yo. So if you have YH as two consonants, there are multiple
Yeah.
ways to pronounce it, right? You can pronounce it
No,
as you can put A and it becomes yeah.
no,
You can
no.
put E, it becomes yeah. You can put O, it becomes yo, right?
You're adding new words. You're adding new letters, right,
I'm
to
saying
form
if
a
you
new
have two
word.
consonants, I'm sorry. if you have two
My
consonants,
God.
is there only one way to pronounce the consonants?
What do you mean? Is there only one way to pronounce the consonants?
So if you have B and C, so let's say B and S, is there only one way to pronounce that?
How else are you going to pronounce B? How?
All right, let's please move on. I think there's nothing more to do
Yeah,
here.
let's just move on. I beg.
So what I don't understand is because it seems very funny to say that when I gave you the breakdown of the Masoretic exercise, it was very funny. I'm trying to understand what was irrational about what I said.
So,
If you could please explain to your audience.
listen, please move on. He's just going around in circles. So let me explain
Yeah,
to you. No,
you
no,
are
no.
laughing. So
Wait,
when I
wait, Nana. You say
listen
make
to my
I
question first.
explain now. That will allow me
Listen to
to
my question.
explain.
I'm repeating my question. I'm
Okay.
saying when I give this explanation, when I said Yahweh is not the pronunciation given to Moses because it was constructed, you said it was. You were laughing and said that's not the case. So can you please tell me what was funny about what I said?
Now, this is what is funny about what you said. You said those two names. You said that they're not the same, right? Did you say that? Just work with me because I'm trying to, because you want to understand why I was laughing. So now,
Yeah.
you said those two names are not the same.
Yeah, I said the name Yahweh is not what was given to Moses. It's not what the name was given to Moses. So Yahweh
So
and the
the names
tetragram
are not the
is on the
same,
same.
right?
Yes, it's on the same thing. Yes.
Okay, now, thank you. But then you just went through describing the process of how we now pronounce the name, and then you said the name is not the same. How does that make sense?
All right. So the point is, okay. Then let me ask you in this way: are you saying the name Yahweh is what was given to Moses?
Oh my God. Yes, it is.
The pronunciation Yahweh. So then
Not
why
the
did they have to do the
pronunciation. No, not the pronunciation, because
I'm talking about the
you're the
pronunciation.
one that brought in
Okay.
pronunciation as the argument. Is the name the same?
Okay. All right. So let's do it this way. The tetragram, the tetragrammaton, YH, is there only one way to pronounce it?
How many other ways are there to pronounce it?
Yehovah. I just give you one. You have Yahweh and you have Yehovah. Are they the same pronunciation?
They're not the same pronunciation.
Can you add different combination of vowels to give different pronunciations?
It's not the same word. And oh my God, how we
If you take the
literally argue?
tetragram,
Like,
if
bro,
you
you
take the
somehow brought
tetragram,
us to the same argument that you
please
literally said we
listen.
should move on
Listen
from.
carefully. Listen carefully first.
Oh my God.
The tetragrammaton, YH, is it possible to add different vowels and get different
There you
pronunciation?
go. What are you doing? You're adding different vowels and giving you different pronunciation. If you just
Yes.
leave it at wait, if you just leave it as YHWH, you can't get a different pronunciation. You're adding new vowels to then get a different pronunciation. How are you not understanding this?
Okay. So you're saying basically that the Yahweh is the original sounding of the consonants.
Nobody said that. Not once have I said that to you.
What are you then saying then? I'm not clear on what you're trying to say.
Okay, so now, is the name YH, I'm not going to pronounce it, YHWH, is it the same name as YAHWAH? Is it the same
No,
name?
it's not. It's not the
No
same name.
wala. No wala.
Okay. So let me get the principle right. Are you saying if two words share a consonant with different vowels, then they
Two
are the same
words.
word?
Wait, come again.
If
Two words share a consonant.
two words share the same consonants but different vowels, are you saying that they are still the same word?
Yes, they're still the same word.
Okay. So best and bast is one word.
Oh my God.
Please just answer the question. Is best
Bro, they're not the same word. We
bast,
have
are they the
context
same
now.
word?
Why are you doing like this now? So wait,
Okay, let's move on. Let's move on.
striving, slow down because you're
Let's
not
move
going
on.
to
No,
striving.
sorry. There's nothing
No,
more to do here. Let's move on.
striving, wait. You're just running now. We're not going to allow you to do that. Now,
All right then.
do you have a context, right, of why I'm saying hey, make my teeth no go come out. The YHWH is the same as YAHWAH. Do you have a context?
The context of what
Do
you are
you
saying
have a
is,
context as to why I'm saying the two names are the same?
yeah, I understand why you're saying it because you don't know.
Thank you. So
That's why you're
now,
saying what
how
you're
did you
saying.
wait now? How did you then use the example of Me just getting BEST and BUST and then saying that they're the same because you just added new vowels. How is that the same analogy? How does that make sense?
Because that was your principle. You said
That was
Yahweh
not the principle.
and
You just started. Now
YHWH
you
is the
make
same
that thing
word
up.
because
That
it's
was
not
not the
different.
principle. You
Fine,
made
let's
that up
please
on the
move on.
go.
Okay, let's move on, please. I think anyone that is actually listening will understand what's going on here.
Yeah,
The second
anyone
thing
that's listening will
that
understand.
made you crack up, yeah, that made you crack up was the fact that I said, objectively speaking, when you're looking at Judaic and the Christian lens. Why was that hilarious?
Because it doesn't make sense. The Jews don't hold to the Bible.
All right. What of the Old Testament
No,
was
wait,
part of the Bible?
striving. Do the Jews hold to the Bible?
The Bible.
Right?
Mhm.
Now, the Bible is the compilation of.
The
Wait.
distinction.
You ask question. Wait. You ask question. I'm answering before you
Mhm.
move forward. So now, when you say the Jews, we're not speaking about ethnicity. We're speaking about religion. When you say
Religion,
Jews,
yes.
right? You're not going to say they hold to the Bible because the Bible is a compilation of both that Old Testament that they hold to and the New Testament that they don't hold to. So you can't say they hold to the Bible.
Yes. So that was why my question was, if I want to make a distinction that when I say they don't hold to the Bible, I'm only referring to the complete book, not to part of it which you hold to. How would you go about doing that? That was my question.
Ask that
If you want to
question
make the
again. I didn't
distinction,
understand. I didn't understand that
if you
question.
want to make the distinction that when I say the Jews don't hold to the Bible, I'm only referring to the compilation of the 64, but they hold to part of it. How would you go about making that distinction?
There's many ways you can do that. So the first way you can do that is you can just say the Old Testament, not the Bible. You can just say the Old Testament, or you can break it down how they break it down into the Torah, the Psalms, and there's another name that they call like the rest of the other books as well. So those are the two
Which
ways
is
that
what
you
I
can
did.
create. What?
Which is what I did. Which is what I did, and you kept
What?
laughing.
When did you do that?
I said that because the Old Testament, they don't hold to it. I said the Bible is a Christian book, and they don't hold to the Old Testament. There are two. I was trying to make the distinction from the get-go to show that there is Old and New
Calm
Testament.
down. Did you hear what you just said this now? You said the
What did I
Bible.
say?
You said the Bible, right, is a combination of the
Mhm.
many books, and they don't hold to the Old Testament. Who does not hold to the Old Testament?
No, I said they don't hold to the New Testament. They hold to
You
the Old
said Old
Testament.
Testament. That's why I said slow down.
Yeah, so let me correct it. All right. So I was trying to make the distinction that the Bible is a compilation of two books, two
It's
sets
not
of
two
books.
books. Yes.
Yeah.
Is the Bible just the Old Testament, or is the Old Testament and the New Testament?
It is both.
Exactly. So why are you still holding on to this argument?
All right, that's fine. Let's move on. Because I'm just looking for the joke so that we can be laughing in my
Because
channel.
the joke here is you don't even realize what you're doing. You will acknowledge one thing just now by saying, yes, the Christians hold to the Bible, which is the Old Testament and the New Testament. Then the very next second, when I ask you a different question, you will negate the answer you just gave me.
No. Even in our engagement, you asked the question if the Christians are the ones that hold to the Bible, and I was trying to make the distinction to say that there is actually a
Okay,
part of the Bible that there are
striving. Let's
two
striving.
different.
You see
Please
it. You
don't
just
interrupt.
no
Don't
wala.
interrupt,
You
please.
do it again, but just watch. No
Don't
wala.
interrupt, please.
No wala.
Hold on,
No
hold
wala.
on. You asked the question if the Christians hold, if the Bible is a Christian, we have to look at the Bible from a Christian point of view. And I was trying to make a distinction from the jump to say that there is a different viewpoint for the Old Testament so that we are clear going into the conversation. But you seem to be tripping on that point. So do we get injury time or is it on? Is it done?
It's an injury time.
Yes.
Let me give you people.
Yeah, just give us 5 minutes. This should be done. Thank you. Striving.
No, that means you collect it.
Striving. This is very simple. Striving. Very, very simple. I'll ask you 2 questions now and give me your answers. Striving. Do the Jews hold to the Bible?
Only part of it, not the Bible, no.
Jesus Christ. Striving. Who holds to the Bible? The Jews or the Christians?
The Christians.
So when you're viewing the listen to what you just said again. No, striving. Who holds to the Bible?
Okay, Christians.
When you're viewing the Bible, when you're
Huh?
viewing the Bible, whose lens should you then be using?
When you're viewing the Bible, whose lens should you then be using? You have to use the lens of each of the paradigms. Because there are 2 paradigms there. You have to look at each paradigm. Why is that a wrong answer? Can you explain, please? Why is me saying you have to look at the paradigm of
you
the
keep
Old Testament?
You keep answering the question. You answer the question and then negate yourself in the very next instance. You've acknowledged the Christians are the ones who use the Bible, meaning the compilation of both the Old Testament and the New Testament, not the Jews. Do the Jews use the Bible? Striving.
No, they don't.
So oh my God, you're still doing it.
Let me understand something. In the Old Testament, is there only one interpretation for the verses you have in the Old Testament?
But we're not speaking of the Old Testament. We're speaking
Let's
of
answer the question first.
Okay, I'll answer the question.
Answer the question first.
No.
Is there one viewpoint?
No. There's 3.
All right. So then why is it that trying to make it clear that there's multiple viewpoints to the Old Testament somehow problematic for you?
The reason why it's problematic is because I didn't ask you about the Old Testament. I asked you about the Bible, which is a compilation of both the Old and the New.
But why is acknowledging the fact that there are different viewpoints that will not go with
because
what you
it is irrelevant to the conversation? I didn't. If I asked you solely about the Old Testament, then you can tell me yes, the Jews, the Muslims, and the Christians, and you can, if you want, you can even go into the Rastafarians because sometimes you guys forget that there are other Abrahamic religions. But
the
I asked you.
Is, yeah. So let me tell you why the problem is. The issue is if you ask the question, the Bible, whose viewpoint should you go with? And then you don't acknowledge from the get-go that there are other viewpoints. Now, what you do is that you insist that every viewpoint has to be seen from the Bible, from a Christian lens, not from any other lens. And that's why you have to make it clear from the get-go. So it's nothing personal. It's just that to be clear with the discussion so that going down the line, it is when you are now bringing something different, it is clear why you are doing that. I'm giving you the rest of the time to make your conclusion. But thank you for it.
There's no time left. You give me 3 seconds to make conclusion. They whine.
But you would have gotten something from the host. Our host is generous.
All right. Thank you very much.